Howdy, folks. I'm Snazzy Sodium, snappily slicing soggy seaweed.
I'm Amber.
And I would say, nah. And here's some non-seaweed Reddit. Alright, folks. Our first letter on this Tuesday morning is titled, Am I a jerk for not letting my friends from out of town stay at my home? I'm a 30-year-old female. And my boyfriend is a 35-year-old male, and he has two friends who live in another state. We'll call them Jack and Liz. They want to come and visit in our state with their 4 children, ages ranging from 5 to 10. I live in the downtown area of our city, while my boyfriend lives about an hour away in the suburbs. My house is close to where I go to school full-time, about a 5-minute walk, and also close to where I work, about a 10-minute walk to my first job, 10-minute drive to my second job. I live with my 3 dogs, and because of my busy schedule, I have a dog walker that comes every day to feed and care for them. When Jack and Liz come to visit with their kids, they are asking to stay at my house. Here's the thing though, they want me to leave my house so that their family can stay there with complete privacy. I think it is also worth noting that I have never met or spoken to Jack and Liz before. They are my boyfriend's friends and not mine. Also, they are originally from our city, so they have their parents and family members who still live there. They seem pretty wealthy, mostly because they tell my boyfriend that they are. Liz is a stay-at-home mom and has never worked before because Jack has had multiple inheritances from deceased family members, and he brags about his high-paying job. They also own about 10 rental properties that they collect passive income from. Believe they bought these houses with their inheritances. Before meeting Jack, Liz also did not work because her family is wealthy and supported her. The thing is that my commute to work and school, I have one or both 7 days a week, is over an hour each way from my boyfriend's house in the suburbs. I already have such long days that changing my commute to be 2+ hours a day, even for a week, is giving me anxiety with all the stuff that I have going on between work and school. Also, I don't have anyone to walk my dogs at my boyfriend's house, and even if I were to hire a dog walker, he wouldn't want a stranger to have access to entering his house. Finally, it would just be really uncomfortable to have to leave my own home, and I'm also nervous about having young children running around my house when I'm not there, and my home is not child-proofed. So am I the jerk? My boyfriend seems disappointed in me because I am not opening my home to his friends, and I am already making a bad impression on them. He also thinks that I'm doing this because I'm deciding not to like them based on what I know about them. Just what I've heard from him. Stuff like they are always asking to use my streaming logins, but keep logging me out. When their dogs get old, they abandon them at shelters so that they can make room for new puppies. I do think that this kind of stuff bothers me, but I think that even if it were my own friends making this housing request of me, I would tell them to get a hotel and stay at their parents' houses. Edit to add, my boyfriend lost both of his parents young when he was 16 and 22, and he doesn't have any siblings or much extended family. He considers his friends from high school as his family. I'm trying to be sensitive to the situation because essentially he thinks that I should be more accommodating to his friends since they are his family. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. If your boyfriend wants to go rent a hotel for a week so he can give up his house to his millionaire friends for free, he's more than welcome to do it. But their demand that someone who is a stranger to them vacate her house so they can have it for free, that's just beyond belief.
So, here they are, bragging about how much money they have and how they all have all of this wealth, and yet they refuse to afford a hotel for a week. Her boyfriend is closer to where they're going to want to be, right? Unless they're coming here to visit the city only. And it seems really odd that they want to be an hour away from her boyfriend even. Wouldn't they be closer? And I think that that's really odd that they wouldn't choose a closer location.
Yeah, well, these people also seem like they've got more money than any person reasonably needs if they have 10 rental properties plus a high-paying job plus inheritances. They can afford a Verbo.
Yeah, I mean, That's really what this seems like. I mean, I don't understand why they refuse to spend their money. And maybe their budgets are tight, because the thing is that even if you have a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're managing your finances well. It just means that you might have increased your cost of living to match your income.
Well, and to be fair, yeah, if they're throwing around their wealth a lot, they may very well be doing that.
And so I would say if that's the case, then they should probably seek a financial advisor and get their finances squared away, because if you don't control your finances will control you. But that's aside from the point. OP, no, you're not wrong. These people need to go find a hotel.
Yeah, and if your boyfriend keeps telling you that you're in the wrong, like maybe couples counseling is in order, because I understand he has trauma and he considers these people family. But even if these were blood relatives, like his actual biological siblings, you would still not be obligated to give up your home to them.
Exactly.
Even if they were your biological relatives, you wouldn't be obligated to give up your home to them.
Exactly. Let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Just for kicks, not the jerk, I don't even know what to say about this. The audacity of these people is mind-blowing. Are they planning on paying you for your inconvenience, extra travel, etc., or are they just expecting you to do this out of the goodness of your heart? Your boyfriend is part of the problem here. I highly suggest that you don't do it. But they have all put you in a very tough position. I'm sorry that they all are terrible for this. And OP replies, no payments that I've heard of. In the past, when the parents want an adult-only vacation, they've made my boyfriend travel to their house a couple of states away to babysit. And no, they don't even pay for his plane ticket.
These people are taking advantage of your boyfriend. Like, he needs some trauma therapy, yesterday, to start setting boundaries with these people.
These people do not sound like friends. They sound like someone who uses other people. And Elm Shelf says, not the jerk, these people sound insufferable. Why is your boyfriend friends with them? And OP replies, they grew up together, and he was in the Air Force with Jack right out of high school. Jack's family was super kind to my boyfriend after his mom died when he was 16, so I think he feels that he owes it to them. It's hard to say. However, I think that if they met today, they wouldn't be friends. They grew up into different people. It's definitely nostalgic high school friendship. And Just No Snark says, not the jerk, they can stay with your boyfriend or rent a place. They're being incredibly rude and demanding. Also, they can get their own streaming services, or your boyfriend can provide that too, since they're his friends. I hate them because of the dog thing. That's really all you need to know about what kind of people they are. All of the other terrible things, I kind of forgot about the dog part.
Same, you don't do that to family members.
Who just abandons old pets just because they want a puppy? No, that's just mean. That's cruel. Mm-hmm. Why would you abandon a dog in the twilight of its life?
Right. They don't care about the animals at all. An animal has a hard time adjusting to a new family, especially at that age. It's such a horrible thing to do.
It is. It really is. And OP replies, thank you. I agree about the dog thing. My boyfriend and his friends say that I'm just sensitive because I like dogs. But I found that generally people who treat animals badly are usually bad people.
Yep.
Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Buying My Daughter a Wildly Inappropriate Shirt? Yesterday, my partner, a 50-year-old male, and I, a 45-year-old female, took our daughter, a 7-year-old female, to the state fair. While waiting in line for a ride, I noticed a vendor selling shirts. I remarked to my partner that on the back of the shirt it says, I love hot moms, and on the front it said, I love something else that's inappropriate, on the front in smaller letters. And it was offered in kid sizes, and I found that weird because it's not appropriate at all for a kid to wear. He immediately started laughing and said that was great, and that if he had seen that when the boys were 8, he had stepkids from a prior relationship, he would have totally gotten them one. I asked if he was kidding and really found that appropriate for small kids to be wearing, and he replied yes, still laughing about it. I then mentioned that they had a I love hot dads in the same size, and that would be great on our daughter, wouldn't it? He got quiet and replied yes, but went back to how funny it would be for the little boys, and laughed about it for a few minutes, and even took a picture of it. Later, when we were getting ready to leave, I said that I had to use the bathrooms, but I went and I actually bought one of the I Love Hot Dads in our daughter's size. Please note, I had no intention of our daughter wearing this shirt or even telling her about it. I was trying to prove a point. When we went back to meet up, I waited till the daughter was distracted and I tossed the shirt over and I said, "Got you the shirt that you liked for our daughter." And all of a sudden, he no longer found that shirt funny at all. And he immediately found the closest trash can and threw it away, which is fine. It's where it was going to go anyways. He was super grumpy on the way home, and after the daughter went to bed, said that I was wrong to buy it because it's not cute for girls. I flat out told him that he could either admit it was wrong about the shirt and not being cute for kids, or I was ordering it off of Amazon for our daughter and sending her to school in it. He finally relented and said that the shirt wasn't cute for kids, but said that there was no reason for me to prove the point the way I did, and it was a waste of money. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. What your husband is doing is not okay. He has clear double standards, and your daughter is going to pick up on this. And at this point, you probably need some kind of like counseling with a therapist who understands like this sort of ingrained misogyny and stuff like that to help him work through some of these problematic ideas, because it sounds like it's not taking.
I think OP proved their point, right? And I think that he realized afterwards that what he said wasn't funny, but he wanted to double down on it. And he wanted to not admit to himself and think about what the consequences of what his words were. And I think that's problematic, right? And we're all going to say things that are inappropriate from time to time, right? It just happens. We're human, right? But it's how you react when you're called out for that that really matters. Are you going to double down on what you say, or are you going to admit that you were wrong for saying it?
And there's a little more context in the comments. Yeah, it sounds like he has a pattern of saying kind of troubling things. So like, and then OP will say, well, what if someone were to do that to our daughter? And he'd be like, well, should never date a guy like that. And so it sounds like it's a bigger issue going on in this relationship.
Yeah, that does sound like there is bigger problems then. And I think that couples counseling may very well be the best choice in here if he continues to say these problematic things and then passes them to his daughter, like what Amber is saying. Then that could give her a really bad experience growing up. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Farah Star says, how much was the shirt? If your husband complains again that it was a waste of money, I would just tell him that it only cost $15 to reach him about sexism. Not a big price to pay, in my opinion. And OP replies, it was $25. And Willing Helicopter 26 says, not the jerk, but oh man, does he have some questionable views about women. I talked to him about this sincerely. He doesn't get to be a jerk about the shirt not being cool for a girl and guffawing about it for a boy without significant discussion. Him insinuating that you were wrong to waste money to prove a point indicates that he doesn't think that he was wrong to begin with. And OP replies, I've already had a couple of talks with him about the double standards that he has. This has definitely driven the point home because I've never had him admit that my point was correct before. Unfortunately, he's hung up on me wasting money on the shirt and harping on that. But it was $25 and I feel that it was worth it.
Well, and that's another thing is he's using the money as a deflection tactic.
Yeah.
So you can be like, well, what I did may have been bad, but what you did is so much worse.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what this boils down to. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. Amber, she's got a joke over there.
What type of markets do dogs avoid?
I can tell you exactly what type of markets dogs avoid. They avoid the markets that have the family from the first letter in it because they're afraid of getting kidnapped by them and then just abandoned later.
I mean, that's a good point. The answer was flea markets, but I like yours better.
And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Tuesday, spelled TWO. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a saying on a inappropriate shirt or appropriate shirt, your choice.
I'm going to go the appropriate route. Don't abandon family members when they get old.
You know, I think that works. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye! And the shirt would have pictures of cats and dogs and bunnies on it. Maybe ducklets, too.